Okay, we're doing this. First time making a video in a long time, years really. Uh, it's 11/11, auspicious day where some people are into numbers like that. For many, number 11 could be a transformative number, a high energy number, and 11/11 particularly can be of interest to folks. So I guess it hit me because this video is a bit unprepared. I didn't think today would be the day when I finally do this and say something. And that's why I look a little disheveled. My hair's growing out. Wearing a hoodie. I just went running in, took a long run, and those are gonna be the times when I actually get the most times introspective, other times inspired, motivated. And after doing that run out here in southern Tennessee, out in the country, where I've taken hospice for a few months, I don't know. It just felt like it was time to say something. It was time to put myself out there, to not be afraid about what I say or how I might be judged, or if no one listens at all. But for my sake, because I felt it was time. And so what do I even want to say? What am I here to talk about right now? Well, one, I made an announcement, maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, that I was coming back to YouTube. I was quite prevalent on YouTube, maybe, 5-6 years ago now. And when I first joined YouTube, I created what I consider like my pop persona, Brando Moon, which for me was like a play on my name Brandon, and a popular pop figure at the time, Bruno Mars. And I actually thought of the whole thing when I just graduated college, and I wasn't quite ready to submit to the corporate world yet, and I just wanted some sort of alternative arrangement. Really thought acting might be of interest to me. I was really into the idea of building influence, and the power that, like, particularly pop personas can achieve, the kind of scale of influence and recognition, and how that can be translated into action, and influencing people to do good, to do better. I'd seen some celebrities being able to translate people who love their work, love their music, love their movies, and try to get them to, take on certain causes, be it like, donating to charities, rising up in some sort of action. And so I really thought this was a powerful and effective way to not just garner influence, but create positive change for good. And so I created this persona that allowed me to, like, step out of some of the discomfort of just being myself, and some of the fear of putting like my raw name and stuff out there, and not really even knowing exactly who I was. And it's still a journey, of knowing myself, of who I really am. But I would say I've come quite a ways since then. So anyways, when I made that persona some years ago, and I put myself on YouTube, the goal was really just one thing, which was to garner as much attention as I could, to try and raise influence, in the hopes that, if you get enough views, enough attention, that starts to snowball. You get picked up in the algorithms, the SEO of it all, and you eventually get a big enough following where you can really start to, influence and amass change. And that's what I was really pumped on, and really it was a means to an end, was kind of how I was looking at it. I also thought it would be a way to get an audience for music, because I was very into music. I still am quite into music, and making music, and the power of spoken word, and songwriting in particular. And yeah, I thought it was a way to get more people to listen to music, which would then further snowballed my ability to scale attention and eventually influence. But this all started to kind of fall apart really as it was starting to take off. Um, yeah, I left my corporate job to try and do it full time. Um, oh, I totally skipped the part of the journey where I even got a corporate job, but yeah, I did at some point. Run out of money and went looking for a job. And oh, that's where the Brando Moon name actually comes from. I packed up my bags from LA, drove out to New York City, where I had a few job leads, and I had had some interviews that really just kind of seemed like people were trying to sign me up for different MLMs in New York City at the time. Multi-level marketing schemes, essentially what they are, and take advantage of people fresh out of college who don't know any better. But it seemed kind of I was getting weird feelings about it, so I didn't go with any of these jobs. But the name came about because I was trying to figure out what else I can do to get ahead, garner influence, and take the next step for myself as like a personal entertainer. And I was at a friend's night place, and I was up really late. I just couldn't sleep. It was like 3 a.m. or something, and I remember looking out the window and seeing the moon. I don't remember if it was a full moon or not, but it was. I just lived in a little apartment, and so your view outside is like this small. You only have one little window and a high rise, and that's other windows, and so I was kind of, to me, kind of interesting that wow, like all the different views of the sky. I got the one with the moon in it right now while I'm up and I can't sleep, and that's what kind of spurred the name, and I kind of ran with it. It also helped my real name got caught up in like an indie record deal that went sideways, and someone like was basically just trying to kind of punk me and use me a little bit, and I was getting too naive to notice, and I just wanted to sign a label and sign a deal and get going, and so my real name was also kind of caught up in things. This is all here and there though, origin stories that no one really cares about quite yet, because well, there's no legend that I have quite created to warrant anyone looking back and saying how did he get here, and what can I learn from myself. So all of that to say, leading up to where we are right now, what leads me to speak out and try this again, is that I did quit on that run five-ish years ago because I was feeling like my approach was naive. My approach to garner influence was not fully formed, and to be fair, the culture of social media, virality, and the internet wasn't as far along as it was either. It was still very a new, flashy thing, and just going viral for any means seemed like the way to do it. But what I learned organically by going through the process, and what a lot of people will tell you now, is that it's not the raw total number of followers you have that matters, but it's the quality and type of followers that you have. They say things like there's certain types of follower bases that are a lot more lucrative than others. People will talk about finance and like personal finance and these kind of topics around money. I end up making a lot more money on YouTube because well, they can get advertisers that are also in that vein, that are willing to pay, such as like credit card providers, to advertise against those verticals, because they have an audience that's engaged with something around their product that makes money. And some of the audiences make less money. I'm not saying it's all about money. This is just one angle in which you think about it. And yeah, even as my first brand, Brando Moon, the entertainer, influencer, started to go exponential, and by that I mean the follower curves were starting to take that exponential route. Instead of maybe like 10 a day subscribers, it was like like 20, 50, 100. We're quickly on our way into like the 10K range and up. But I noticed the quality and the type of follower wasn't quite what I wanted. And what would be useful to the kind of influence I wanted to garner. And the way to monetize the whole thing was also just to sell stuff, just whatever, honestly, random stuff. Advertisers, brands approach me all the time to sell random. But I found this with random things. But that's how you survive. If you don't have your own internal monetization method or approach. And I found myself both having an audience that cared more about how I looked, and which was kind of the viral content I was going for because it seemed quickest and easiest. Um, and I had to sell things that didn't really matter to me. So even as it was starting to go, it was also starting to break in terms of why was I doing this. So I stepped away from it all. Quit. I made like I'm quitting video, and I explained how the type of content I meant wasn't really aligned with where I was trying to go, and I was just creating a hyperloop having to do more of that, and it wasn't translating the type of influence I wanted. Now some would say eventually you get there if you just get enough raw eyes. Period. Some minute percentage of that will just be your core true friends who just care about you holistically and will follow you towards these more compassionate plays you're trying to make, and difference making plays you're trying to make. That is all true. That is what a lot of celebrity and pop culture is built on. But I think since then we've seen the rise of a type of influencer that is very different. That's just grassroots from the ground up on a better trajectory, and it's trying to do something just organically, correct and right, and trying to do something good from the ground up, instead of from build influence on the top down, which is how I thought it had to be done at the time. And I think that's one of the big lessons that leads us to today. Now I did try to come back maybe a year or so ago, I don't quite remember, and come back online because I know, and we all know now, that there's a lot of power in building a following. And so I made a couple videos and said, hey, I'm back. I'm gonna try this again. I understand that influence is how you get places. So I'm gonna give this a shot. But I was flawed in that approach as well, because even though my premise was right, the medium is correct, the method, the strategy of making content can get you places where you might want to go. Again, I was still missing the underlying why that's aligned with the content I was making today, or at that time. And even then, I was trying to think of all these videos I wanted to make, and it just kind of felt kind of random. Whatever, oh, this might be interesting for people to know, maybe this, but it wasn't all going anywhere in particular. And so really, since I stopped that second time, I've been thinking long and hard about the why. Why am I here? Why make content? Why even speak out? Why garner influence? And to that, I've also had to think through the lens of business. At some point when I did leave being an influencer, that first big go at it, I did transform the brand into an e-commerce company that I felt kind of encapsulated kind of the look and feel of what I was going for at the time, a type of aesthetic, a type of design, and I turned it into a type of product that I thought would be useful for people, and it turns out it was, and it still exists to this day, and I still sell those products, which is great. And I learned a lot about business in the process, and how to start a business, how to grow a business, what are all the different things you have to keep in the air, all the different ways it can go wrong. Concepts of debt, leverage, P&Ls, all this stuff. And boy, have I learned and taken some hard lessons just figuring that all out by myself. In the process, I reached the same thing even in business, which is, where am I going with this business? And even by doing that, I learned all the skills to really make any type of business from doing that, because I ran the whole thing, front to back, end to end, every department, every process, every click. And I realized a lot of those skills from one business apply to all types of business. And so I spent a while even there, thinking of like, oh, I can start this business and this business. I did start a few follow-on businesses. I started a coffee business, which is still growing. It's small, but we're getting there. I looked into starting a farm. I still want to start a farm. I started a few other product businesses with friends. But even as I saw like, and I dreamt out all these different types of businesses I could make, and all these different types of verticals, and copy this to here, there. Um, and I found that that wasn't enough for me either. And it again lacked a deeper why, a deeper purpose. Um, because for a lot of people, just making as much money as possible is the purpose, is the game. Um, and that's like I listen to a lot of podcasts with business guys, and they really get turned up by just like, I want to make more businesses, I want to have more money. I can do more, bigger businesses. Some people like to take an angle of like, I'm securing generational wealth, I'm doing this for my family. Um, but none of that really ever quite motivated me um, in the way it has for a lot of these other guys. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think it also makes sense given that I didn't immediately leave business school and jump into the highest paying job I could get. I really avoided the whole thing for quite a while. And there was plenty I had to work out there too, with just my relationship to money and people who have money and influence power. And there's a lot of internal work I've had to do there, and there is still more to do, around the investor class and such. But again, that wasn't my driving force. Um, and no matter how much I tried to get myself pumped up to like show up and build these businesses so that they would get bigger and make more money, so I have more money, I can do more flashy things, more fun things. Because I enjoy money. I like to spend money. I like services. I like going out. I like buying people things, all this stuff. That wasn't quite working for me either, and it just kind of felt to another, means to an end where there was no ends, real, in the way. Like, where is all this money leading to? Like, what for? And the one thing with playing the money games is that there's always more money to make and more money to spend, and just on bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger scales. Um, and so for some people that's an infinite game, and that's fun in itself. But again, without the end, without the like, what is this all for? It just feels like making money for money's sake, and then at the end you die at some random interval, some random like net value that you have. It could be maybe in the millions, the billions, wherever the hell it lands, shit, trillions. But what's it really matter to just sit on so much money? And so I'm at a point in my life where I've kind of seen a lot of different sides. I've seen the sides of like, trying to take the entertainment route, building personal brands, building influence, building businesses, going corporate, doing 9 to 5, climbing corporate ladders, small businesses, just kind of checking out of the whole thing. There was a time when my e-commerce company was like so automated that I kind of just got to check out for a while, and just read books and sit back in the vacation life. No lavish vacation, like middle class vacation, but not having to work nonetheless. And I've seen all these different sides. But at the end of the day, I think people need purpose. I think purpose matters a lot, not just for that easy, like just that simple, like I need a reason to get out of bed thing. But to move them, propel them forward, give someone a reason to, not only just continue, but to be excited about life and feel like you're contributing and make something bigger than yourself. Because I know when I didn't really have to work, I was just kind of hanging out. I didn't spend a lot of time with my girlfriend, but I still kind of felt, kind of out of it, kind of isolated. The energy was low. And a part of me wanted that because I didn't want to be swept up in other people's stuff, because I've been hurt in that way, in many ways. But I think there's something telling to leaning into, something positive, something powerful to leaning into, thinking outside yourself, being part of a community, or even just thinking about, the larger world at play here. It could be, other people, it could be town, your city, it could be your family, it could be the earth. But I think this is all super important. And I realized the more I've sat with this, that if there's anything that really gets me excited, it gets me pumped up, and gets me also just intellectually invested and interested, and wanting to show up and wanting to learn more and wanting to build and improve. I think it is this aspect of doing better, for trying to make a better world. And when I say it like that, it probably sounds kind of corny, kind of lame, and everybody says that. There used to be a joke in Silicon Valley, well, about Silicon Valley, like the 2000s, 20 teens, when I was there, before it was totally corporatized, that every startup, even one that's just like B2B, like sales software, would somehow say like, we're building this and we want to raise a bunch of money, we want to make a bunch of money to make the world a better place. And it became a real joke how overused it was. No one even tries to say that anymore. Google's not "don't be evil" anymore, if that's any tell of where the industry's at. But sometimes it's these basic concepts that can be corny, that are true, and that just feel true. And sometimes when we want to reject that simplicity, we want an answer that's more complex, feels more grandeur, something we can chew on a little bit more. But at the end of the day, doing the basics right is really what makes all the difference. I found, when you think about think about yourself, just eating well, sleeping well, even these things can make a grand difference on how you live. So to that, I am back. I'm going to try this content thing again. And this time I have a purpose. And I'm reshaping the channel to fit that purpose and remind me again and again. So, what is our goal here? What's our mission? What's our vision? All these are kind of different terms, but what I do want to state for my own sake is what I'm trying to do right now and where I'm trying to go, and what I hope this, like, putting my message out there and sharing and being transparent builds towards, which is creating a quality living standard for all, a quality life. And so to that, I'll play around with the title of the name of the channel for a while until something feels right, but I'm going for Brandon's Quality Living Lab. Maybe that'll just get shortened to the Living Lab eventually, but I do want to put the focus on the goal here is, what does it take for all of us to live a quality life? How do we get there? What are the aspects of a quality life? And most importantly, in this world we live in, what is the cost for all of us to have a quality life? And can we get to a cost that all of us can afford, with hopefully some abundance? I could make this, I could get a little more in the weeds here. I can really go on about this. For me, I think the economy needs to move to a regenerative economy. And that's what I hope is kind of where we're going with this. If we know what quality is, and we know what it costs, how can we build an economy that not only allows us to afford quality, but is inherently creating more quality and sustenance and sustainability. Avoiding these means for the ends type situations that we keep getting caught into and never quite work out in the long term. For instance, maybe in this case, a quality life is, if I've really dumbed it down, everybody had $60,000. A means to an ends approach might be, sorry. Well, let's just frack a ton of oil, and we'll mess up the water in the process. And there's only so much oil, so we can't really think about the strategy for like 1,000 years. But for the next 100, let's just drill the F out of oil, so that everybody can get 60K. That's a means to an end, because in the end, you have you have destroyed your natural resource that's key for sustainability. So that's why, I really want this to move towards what is quality life? 2, how do we afford it? How do we get it? And then 3, how do we do it in a not only sustainable but regenerative, net positive way? If you want to know what that regenerative thing means, it's come out of the burgeoning regenerative farming movement, which is something I'm really passionate about and really want to do a lot more of in the space. But I feel like this quick anecdote will get you a rough idea of regenerative economics. Which regenerative farming, it's a way of farming where by farming the land, you actually improve the soil and you make it more abundant for the next amount of crops. So the idea is that not only are you farming, you're doing something economic, it provides food for people and money for the business, but the process you're doing improves the picture for everybody. The food is more quality and nutrient dense. You're improving the soil. The soil is getting healthier. That healthier soil can pull and store more carbon out of the air, and so you're improving the environment as well. So it's a win-win-win. And in 20th century mindset, we didn't think these kind of things were possible. It always felt like there was trade-offs, and that's what a lot of the means to the ends thinking led us in the 20th century. But it's a new era, baby. 21st century is very different. It poses new challenges, new threats, but also new opportunities and new ways of thinking we've never seen before. And this regenerative farming is just one of them. But I think it points towards an entire approach to how we all live and build and interact with each other that can be, by engaging in the process, improve the lives for everyone. So that's where we want to go. That's where I'm trying to go with all this. We need more education, more people understand how this works. We need more resources to do it. And we need to understand what we can do on the ground, with or without money, to improve the quality of our lives as we move towards a more quality, wholesome existence for ourselves and for all. I think that's what we all deserve. And I think it's very, very possible. With enough effort, time, money, people, we can definitely do it. And we'll solve a lot of our problems in the process. So that's the message for the day. Super long-winded, some random anecdotes, very off the cuff, but hell, I just wanted to do this, say something. So thank you for your time. We'll make this more engaging, more clickbaity in the future to get more views, but for now, I'm just happy to get my thoughts out. It feels good. So thanks for your time. Until next time. Brandon, what do you say, Brando?